Good morning. It's Thursday, and it is another day with all kinds of stuff going on. We decided to give the boys a morning off. They've been at school with mommy at home for 3 days this week, and today we figured we'd give them some time to watch some movies. So I walked into the room earlier this morning, and my one son was watching Chicken Little, which I thought was really ironic right now. It's also kind of funny because he looks a little bit like Chicken Little with the big head and the glasses. Anyway, so he's doing that, and the news just seems to be getting worse and worse. And I got to tell you, um, I've done pretty well, and I think, like for the most part, like I've done pretty well. But I think last night was the first night my imagination got away with me, or however I might say that. But like it's just like it. You start envisioning. I started envisioning some awful scenarios of what the next year to 18 months might look like. It's scary, I mean, when you let yourself think about it. So I had a moment, and I'll tell you, last night before going to bed, the uh, the first sentence in my journal was, "This was a hard day." And it was. I felt it as it was going on through the day, just this pressure. And I purposefully stayed away from the news and turned it on right before dinner and immediately turned it off because I just couldn't hear it. But, I just think that, we're going to go through this back and forth of feeling fine, feeling optimistic, and then we're going to have moments where we go through what I went through last night, where we're just like, oh my God, what if all of the things go wrong, So, I understand, when you watch people, it's frustrating to watch people out at the beach and, bars and doing whatever they want against what everybody in the government is recommending now. But you can also understand why they would want to avoid the truth, if you want to call it that. And I think that it offers like that sense of security and control that we feel like we're losing right now. And going back to that list of questions we talked about yesterday, that's a way to maintain control in this small corner of our minds. Even, it's a way to control just a little bit. And I think that's a battle we have to fight every day right now, as things seem to close in, as things start to look dire, as our minds start, we naturally want to go toward the negative, like to try to protect ourselves, right? We just naturally look for threats to our humanity, to our survival. And, it's easy to go to a bad place when there's so much uncertainty and we can't control it. And now we're being told to stay in our homes and we feel even less in control. And so, bringing it all in, we've talked about this, like, bringing in, the sense of like bringing in our circle, like our bubble, and controlling the things that we can control here. And that's keeping ourselves healthy. That's, having the right conversations, relationships. And speaking of relationships, I think that's part of what I was feeling, is because I worked really long yesterday, and getting into the evening, I told my kid I would go outside with them, and I didn't at the time. I said, look, we'll go out at 5. I'll stop working at 5 and we'll go out for an hour, because he just wanted to play football. He wanted to get out. He's tired of being in the house. And 5 o'clock, it starts raining, and it wasn't going to stop all night. So it's like the guilt and all the stuff that builds up. And I think that, we just like, I need to make sure I'm taking the right time with my family through this. I mean, now I feel like I have to work harder than ever to make sure that we're in the best position to be secure as a family as possible. And it's hard to do when you watch your retirement account get whacked by 30%, right? I mean, I'm watching it every day going, should I have gotten out? Should I have gotten out? And it's hard to know what the right move is. 2 weeks now. Now it's going to be 2 months. Well, now it's not 2 months. Now it's 18 months. Who knows? Who knows? But how I handle my relationships in this house is probably going to define me more than anything else that I do outside of this house. And that's a thought that I have to keep in mind day in and day out as we go through whatever we go through. And that's kind of the end result, the place I end up this morning is that whatever is going to happen is going to happen regardless of what I do. So how I handle myself with the people that matter most is how I'm going to write my own history with how my family remembers me, right? Not saying that I'm going to disappear anytime soon, but that, in 10 years when we're through this, are they going to say, well, Dad was miserable. We were downstairs watching TV all day and he was up in his office trying to work. And, that was a dark time in our lives. Or is it going to be that, Dad was strong, Dad encouraged us, Dad did what he needed to do. So there's that feeling. And that can extend to our spouses. That can extend to, if we have parents that we're taking care of. All of us have emotions of, dread and doubt and uncertainty and insecurity. And now I'm not saying we don't feel it. I'm not saying that we should be dishonest with ourselves. But we also, on the flip side, need to take care of ourselves even more. It's even more important now to be intentional with where we want to go, to be intentional with our actions, to be more understanding of what's going on around us, to be more empathetic and compassionate of what's going on around us, to make sure that we are not sending ourselves down a path that is damaging for ourselves and the people around us. And it's going to happen. I had an off night last night. So what I do with my time today to not reverse where I was is incredibly important. So that's where I am at today. Again, none of this is perfect in my world, but it's that continuous progress forward. We say it every day. Sheila says it every day in her post, small steps forward. Look a lot different now than they used to look previously, but it still needs to happen. So we continue to make those steps forward and make it happen. Make it happen. Good morning, Carrie and Kathy. Kathy, I saw your reply to my message this morning. I'll get back to you on that. I am not an expert. We're talking about her website. She had a website question, so I will try to think about that a little bit and get back to you. But I'm not like super duper informed on that particular topic. Carrie, how are you? How's school going? How's teaching going? We here in the house, we still don't really have any curriculum from the district here yet, but we've been doing our own thing. We have, I think that they did send out a link to some website that Nicholas can do on his iPad. So he was doing multiplication tables and all sorts of things on his iPad yesterday and writing it out on a piece of paper. And today we have, they got a wooden 3D puzzle that's like a roller coaster. We're going to put that together today after they get done watching their movies. They're watching Space Jam right now, which is a classic Michael Jordan movie. Yeah. So, oh, you're welcome, Kathy. Today in this afternoon, the 3:00 session we're going to do on my page, I'm going to walk you through how to plan out, or we're going to walk through it together, how to plan out the next couple of months, up to 3 months of what we're going to do. Understanding that, look, life has changed and, we're going to have to reevaluate what's important for us. And if we are stuck in our homes for the next 3 months, what are we going to do with that time? Are we going to take on home projects? Are we going to work on relationships? Are we going to try to work remotely? What does that look like? What are our goals? So I'm gonna walk through like that loose process. I wanted to have paper like forms that I could have you download and you could go through the process, and I think that's gonna have to wait for another time. It just couldn't happen yesterday, and I couldn't find anybody to help me with it. So we'll get on that, but we're gonna walk through it with just some basic note paper and try to get everybody through like figuring out that process. And we'll use some concepts that are pretty common out there, but we're going to try to simplify them to make it a little bit easier to go through. For most people, I know because if we make it too complicated, then it's almost work in itself. So we're going to try to do it in a less complicated way. Angel, good morning. She says, I'm going to post it on the screen. Here we go. I think my youngest is getting the wrong impression of what online school is. My oldest graduated from an online school, and it was far more structured than this. Yeah, the problem is we just weren't prepared for it. And our local school district says that they were preparing for it, and then the governor decided to shut everything down before they could finish getting ready, and they weren't even allowed back into their school, so they couldn't get the things they had prepared. Whether true or not, it's frustrating for a lot of people, but there's a lot of uncertainty everywhere, and priorities have shifted and things are happening. So we're doing our best. I think for the most part, a lot of it's just about just getting through this as sane as we can. So understanding that everybody has their own struggles. So we're getting there. Good morning, Mitzi. Thanks for joining me. Carrie says we're still in the planning stages. Yeah, for school. Yeah. We've sent out links to online apps to do while the planning is being done. Looking like we are closer to moving online. I'm thankful my district is taking the time to plan. That's good. Been communicating with my parents, and they have been sending me short messages from their kids. That makes my day when I hear from them, plus a smile on my face. Yeah. Stacy, so do we come here for the 3 p.m. session? I am going to schedule it. It's on the Nick Boris Facebook page. That is facebook.com/definedlife, and it will be there. So it'll be open to the general public, not just Define My Day users. So if anybody doesn't have Define My Day, they can sort of still go through the process, and it won't be limited to just you guys. So the 10 o'clock sessions are limited to just this group because it's more casual. The 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. Eastern on facebook.com/definedlife. And I will schedule it after I get off here, and I'll post a link to the Facebook page here too. Carrie, prep time is important. As educators, we're having to think on our feet. Yeah, and I would wonder, I think that, educators are used to having plans, right? Lesson plans, and that doesn't change too much from year to year, I would assume. So now we're thrown into this brand new thing, and we're all going through it. I mean, we all are experiencing this. Business is different, and I think everybody wants stability from somewhere or someone, but in this unstable time, we're not going to find it. So I know the parents are upset with the teachers that this isn't done yet, but I mean, everybody has to look at it like, there's a lot that has to happen, and these people have their own lives too, and they weren't prepared for this. Nobody was. Good morning, Belinda. Good morning, Linda. Stay healthy. Absolutely, stay healthy. Stay healthy physically and mentally, and that's the struggle. That's the hurdle. Trying to keep both in line. Especially if you're used to going to the gym or doing something socially. You're used to having a social network. So you do what you can do to keep moving forward, and that's my thing. Keep moving forward. I write that in my journal as part of my theme every day almost. It's either keep moving forward or small steps, whatever. Keep moving forward, and I sign all my emails with that, right? And I even had somebody a long time ago. It hasn't happened in a while. A long time ago, it was my signature, and I was responding to somebody that wasn't happy with Define My Day. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't like it, but you can. She was within the window. I said, you can return it if you like, and we'll give you a refund. Keep moving forward, Nick. Something like that, right? And she's like, keep moving forward, like in quotes, and like wrote some nasty thing back. And I'm like, I guess we can use that as we can be that way, I guess. But that's probably somebody that needed the process more than they didn't. But that was. I mean, it's funny because it's almost petty now, which is another thing. Some of the things that mattered before don't matter anymore, do they? But I look at some people's responses to Define My Day and the whole thing, and I'm thinking, my goodness, like you need this, like being like growing your awareness and growing your sense of priorities and getting yourself centered. That's the process. You need this, and I would look at anytime somebody would respond in a really negative way or like a troll on the internet. I'm like, man, you need this. This is exactly what you should be doing right now. But you're not in that place to hear that. Carrie, I always update my plans to meet specific needs of my students and to keep it fresh, but a lot does stay the same year to year. Going online makes planning different. I have decided if we do move to online education, I'm going to look at it positively as an adventure. My parents have been great and so understanding. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I only see, I don't see, I guess, the positive stuff that teachers might hear directly. I only see what happens in our community page on our Facebook page for the community. And there is positive stuff, but as always, the positive stuff doesn't get quite the traction that the venters get, and then the back and forth that happens there. So, I'm glad your experience has been good with it. But I think, and what you're explaining there is right. So there's a structure. A lot stays the same from year to year. So there's a structure, and then you can change. You can adjust for the better areas of improvement and based on what changes in learning and what we learn about how to handle kids and all of that, right? So you make improvements as you go. That's the problem right now, is that all of the structure is blown up. The structure of going to work, the structure of going to the gym, the structure of being social, whatever anybody's structure was, has been torn down right now. So any place we can find structure or implement structure for ourselves becomes increasingly more important. And again, we're going to go back to Define My Day. It's more important that I do my tasks and my priorities and my mindfulness activities and Define My Day. It's more important now because if that's the one thread of structure that I have through my day, along with a schedule, right? If that's the thread of structure I have through my day, while the world seems like it's falling down around me, the sky is falling, then that can only help. So, with you have these lesson plans that, have been structured and you can work within them and improve as you go. Now that's all torn apart and, we don't have, now everybody's just, it's chaos. It's chaos. Yeah, unfortunately on social media, people post negative things. People want to vent. People want to vent their frustrations. And unfortunately, my feeling is that as a society, we've become the society that complains just about things. It's that entitlement mindset. It's just like, I should have this, I should have that. And I think that now, like, this is going to be hardship for a lot of people. And our expectation of what we deserve, quote unquote deserve, is going to be adjusted, right? And, this is where people with a strong mindset and mentality are going to come out on top, I believe. And this is where the people who have not had perspective, the way that World War II veterans had perspective, like people that don't have that proper perspective of how good they had it are going to gain it now. And it's a little frustrating that a lot of people are still running out there with their blinders on. But unfortunately, I think it's going to hit pretty hard within the next couple of weeks. And I think the people that can maintain focus and maintain the right mindset going through this are going to be better for it. We're all going to have some negatives. We're all going to have moments. But if you can hold on for as much as you can, you're going to be better. I will post anytime says I'm absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Structure routine. My new routine is a priority this week. Setting up my new routine. Yeah, absolutely. That is it, for me. I think that's where I've in places like last night where I was looking like where like how is this impacting me so negatively? If I'm being honest with myself, it's because I have let certain things slide. Right? My routine is still pretty strong. I would say stronger than most, but who am I comparing myself to, right? So I need to lock down my routine. I also need to focus on my time with my kids. Like I've neglected that, justifying it with, I'm trying to shore up what we need to do, trying to make sure we're in the right place, from a business perspective, from a home perspective, from all of this stuff. And so when the kids come to me, looking for attention or interaction, and I said, not now, I'm working, like that feeling of not working in alignment with my purpose and values. I might not be completely conscious of it, but somewhere back there, I know this isn't okay. This isn't okay. You are out of balance right now, and that's something that I am aware of because of the journaling aspect of this, and also writing down my priorities and my affirmations, like knowing, like, okay, this I'm not working within the framework that I've set out for myself, so I can continue that and continue down a negative path, or I can realize that I need to adjust, and maybe in small ways and maybe in big ways, but I need to adjust to make sure that I am continuing to do what I need to do again in line with my values, because the world could fall down around me and it will be hard. I will struggle. But if I work outside of my values and my purpose, then I will suffer. Like internally, existentially, like whatever, I will suffer. So I need to know that whatever I did, I operated and gave the best to my family, my kids, you guys. And if I operate any outside of that in any way, then it's not going to be okay in my soul, right? And that's how I'm measuring myself as I go, and that's a small part of why I felt bad last night. Mitzi says, my Define My Day and Miracle Morning routines are getting me through this pandemic. That is awesome. If anybody has not been into the Miracle Morning yet, do it now. I don't think that process has ever been more important than it is now. I am fortunate that I don't have to be on the front lines and can work from home. Good for you. However, it's still stressful. You're right, it is. The unknown, the uncertainty is stressful. I try to find gratitude often as I can, because if the worst thing that happens to me this weekend is that I can't go to my favorite brewery restaurant, I'm incredibly lucky. That's the way I've been thinking about it. I can forego going to the brewery that I go to once a week, and chilling out there, because I am doing what is a priority now. And if I need that time, I can go to, I can go to the backyard and sit outside. It's going to be 72 degrees tomorrow. I can sit outside and have a beer outside, and maybe I put on a podcast and with some noise canceling headphones and just sit in the backyard and hopefully not get eaten by mosquitoes if they're out yet, and just listen to maybe a